Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that I'm going to show you tonight is pretty much going inside the mind of a leftist gun controller. It's a scary place, but we're going to put on our helmets and we're going to have a great time. Everything's going to be linked in the description box below, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think about this one, because they are openly telling you where their brains are at, and it is not a good place for their gun control movement. And if you are new or you're a returning viewer, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and making sure you turn that notification bell on. We need as many of you as possible to get into the fold with us, to be counted amongst friends and family, to help pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation twice a day on this channel. And if you have not checked it out yet, please check out my website, secondpress.co. This is something that is aggregating all of our videos. We've got original content, and there is a free mailing list on there to help join the revolution to push our rights forward to the next generation, and we would love to have you there. There's a link right down there. Thank you so much in advance for your consideration again, but let's dive into the Huffington Post because, like I said, we've got our helmets on. We're about to go deep in the mind of the left. And one of the things to focus on all the time, a staple of this channel, look at what they're telling you. Look at the why. Look at the media to show you where their minds are at, because they will always forecast it. Check this out. How the courts are strangling gun reform. A 2022 Supreme Court decision turbocharged a gun rights movement that has already racked up game-changing court victories over the last 15 years. Now, that came out today. Just out of curiosity, you guys can leave it in the comments field. How many of you over the last 15 years have heard the left say they're losing? Not a whole lot. In fact, you would really see a whole lot of posturing about gun control is the new hotness. Chris Murphy out there stamping his chest, Giffords.org, Every Time for Gun Safety, Moms Demand Action, all of them. They're saying that gun control is the new norm, but the Huffington Post, a leftist organization, says already racked up a game-changing court victory over the last 15 years, and it's now been turbocharged. Something's afoot because, like I said, they wouldn't have lied to you all this time, would they? Check this out. It was a fleeting triumph. The next month, a state judge barred the law from going into effect. They're talking about Oregon Measure 114. This is the Oregon gun control that was stymied. Parallel legal challenges are also working their way through the federal courts. Now, they were touting that as the way for gun control moving forward until it got halted and stopped because it was unconstitutional. And there's like 5 pending cases on that. Litigation is never ending. And yet it's not applied at all. In fact, it got stuffed multiple times after that. But let's continue. A similar thing is happening across the country as courts toss out gun restrictions, both new and old. In the past year, federal judges scrapped a variety of gun laws, including those limiting concealed carry in certain places in New York, a ban on ghost guns in Delaware, a ban on people under 21 carrying handguns in Texas, and restrictions on gun ownership by those under felony indictment and also those under domestic violence protection orders in Texas. You could have pulled that exact paragraph off of this channel's dialogue. Because what have we been saying consistently over time since Biden was inaugurated? They don't have the juice to get what they want done legislatively, so they're going to push with the executive state, the bureaucratic state. That's what they've been doing. They've crossed all these different areas, and they've been hit every single time by court cases. In fact, this article, again from the Huffington Post, is now alluding to the fact that AR bans are going to be in front of the Supreme Court again pretty soon. This is significant, people, and understand this. I'm not saying this fight is over. This fight will go on for the rest of my natural life. However, the momentum is going in the right direction because you guys are standing up, you are active, and you are putting the right people in office. I know it takes time, I know it's a slow burn, but this is because of your actions. Keep that in mind as I go forward because, again, the left is telling you what they're thinking. This new historical test demands that those defending gun restrictions prove to a court that Americans in the 18th and 19th centuries approved similar restrictions and that such restrictions were widespread and long-lasting enough to be considered a tradition. If those long-ago Americans did not consider something a problem, neither can Americans today. It's almost like the Constitution was written for now, then, before, and the future. The entire point is, this is a document that can be amended as we go forward, but it doesn't mean because someone wrote it 200 years ago that you don't apply to the same principles. It is a document that guides our country. Just because the left has decided that it doesn't matter and it wants to interpret however it wants, doesn't change the fact that they're going to run into these same exact issues because they're running out of runway on the gun control pushes. They set them up, we knock them down. It just takes time. But let's keep going. I got this one. This one's key. The Supreme Court decision turbocharged the gun rights movement that had already racked up game-changing court victories over the last 15 years. Again, all the posturing doesn't saying that, but now they are. If enough cases tipped this way, states' abilities to pass significant reform legislation could be squelched in the coming years. A potentially dramatic blow to a reform movement that has relied on state houses to push forward measures sure to die on arrival in a deadlocked Congress. For example, Florida. Just last week, we did a video where Gabby Giffords was in a library in Florida talking and lamenting about the fact that constitutional carry was going to be law of the land there pretty soon. Also lamenting the fact that the law that they pushed so hard to get passed, raising the age of rifle purchases from 18 to 21, is also about to be struck down again in Florida. They're setting up these gun control provisions and they're getting struck down across the board. Keep pushing. This is the time that we tell our children what the fight was and why they still have their rights. But let me show you this last sentence. This is key. Quote, "All these things are being litigated like mad," Al Schulzer said. "The court will have to take another Second Amendment case very soon." And with the Benitez decision coming down on AR bans being unconstitutional, the state of California, Gavin Newsom, Rob Bonta, they all know it's going to be unconstitutional and it's going to be accelerated up the chain. I'm thinking, and I think they're thinking, that AR bans are next. And once you get AR bans, that's one of the holy grails of leftist gun control. That will be gone. And I'm going to leave you with this one quote because this is another good one. Check this out. Quote, "The revolution has been going on since at least Heller," Al Schulzer said. Quote, "But if it took an enormous step with the Bruen decision." Yeah, it did. We are winning. We are fighting. It's going to be a long fight. It's going to be a slow burn. But at the end of the day, it is still going to burn. And we're going to pass this on to the next generation because you are active and we're passing it along every single day. Thank you so much for your time. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.